Hi guys, I'm Sam. I'm a first year medical student attending med school in Australia, and you're watching From Ed to Med. Guys, I first want to apologise for the lack of updates for the last 2 weeks. It obviously is insanely busy, but also I actually went away last weekend on a medical rural trip to Kingaroy, which is about 3 hours northwest of Brisbane. So it was a really good experience, and I'll probably tell you a little bit more about that some other time. But first I wanted to say good luck to everyone going for their GAMSAT next weekend. It's a massive test, and it's something a lot of people don't understand how hard it actually is. I know that a lot of us as med students now recently have been talking about how glad we are that we don't have to sit the GAMSAT again. I just want to say good luck to you and say that even though I know this will be meaningless, I'm going to say don't stress about it. I know you're going to stress anyway. It's a stressful exam. You'd be crazy if you weren't stressed, really. But the GAMSAT is a point-in-time test. It's not a reflection of who you are. It's not a reflection of your ability to be a good doctor. I mean, would you rather your doctor have good clinical skills, or would you rather your doctor be able to know physics, biology, and chemistry, and write 2 essays and have 200 questions in 5 hours? I mean, that's good and it's helpful, and it shows that you've got the ability to get in, but it doesn't mean that's who you are as a person or as a doctor. So go well, do your best, and just know that after this, it gets better. So for something a bit different today, I wanted to take you through what my timetable actually looks like. So let's take a look at a first year med student's timetable, or at least my timetable from my university. So as you can see here, we've got my phone hooked up, we've got the calendar here. Now this is February, obviously. Now as you can see, a couple of things here. First, I need to explain some of these acronyms. So first of all, this is DKHI, and that stands for Doctor and the Knowledge of Health and Illness. So that's basically our sciences subject, how to identify diseases with the characteristics of the human body, that sort of thing, physiology, pathology, and anatomy and all that sort of thing. So DLEP stands for Doctor, Law, Ethics and Professional Practice. So that's all obviously our ethics, how to perform professionally as a doctor, and all the legal sort of stuff that goes with it, things like consent and all that important stuff. Alright, PBL, obviously we've talked about PBL before, problem-based learning, that's our tutor groups. DHC stands for Doctor, Health and the Community, so that's a thing, that's a subject focused on epidemiology, and a lot of stats in there, but very important sort of stuff, be able to interpret journal articles and that sort of thing. And finally, DP stands for Doctor and Patient, so that's all our clinical skills and our communication skills. So those are the 4 main areas that we have in our timetable. So this is a typical timetable for February. One thing you have to be aware of too is that this timetable isn't static at all. It changes all the time. Some of our lecturers are doctors, and so they get called away on urgent patient issues. They also change things when certain sessions have been cancelled and whatnot, but it changes pretty quickly, and the timetable isn't the same for everyone. So obviously we have different sessions for communication skills and clinical skills, so they divide us up. So this is my timetable. Now Monday and Thursday, shorter days you can see here, so we go into Monday, 21st of January, so 29th of January, the very first kind of day, infection prevention and control. Now these are usually clinical skills workshops, and what that means is we go in and we actually get to do physically the stuff that you would see a doctor doing. This one was not a great example. This is washing your hands, really important though, so always wash your hands. So if we go on here, let's go forward a bit, get rid of February. You can see here it's infection control was there. It had vital signs here, so taking pulse, blood pressure and all that sort of thing, and then cardiovascular examinations. So that cardiovascular exam we've actually got a summative test for on Monday, so in 2 days time, so that's going to be good. We go into a room with a simulated patient and we have 15 minutes to conduct a full cardiovascular examination. This one here is how to place ECGs and how to analyse the ECG readouts. So that's the sort of clinical skills we've done so far. Usually on a Monday that'll be for about 2 to 3 hours, and for me that starts at 8:30 in the morning, goes until 10:30, so then I've got the rest of the day to study. Usually I hook up with some of my study groups and we go do that, or I'll do some silent study in the library. If we look at Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday, they're usually the more packed days. So let's go back in February and have a look at a good week. Let's choose this one, 20th of Feb. Alright, so you can see on Tuesday we started with a lecture on the autonomic nervous system for an hour and a half, followed closely by another hour and a half of anatomy, so looking at the cardiovascular system. So this anatomy usually happens on Tuesday, prepares us for anatomy labs, which are on Wednesday. If we go down here, then we have 3 hours of PBLs. So we finish off the case from last week, and then we start the new case. So each PBL starts on Tuesday, we have a PBL session on Friday, and then the following Tuesday we wrap that up. Every case is linked to something we're studying that week, so it makes it useful. We go over Wednesday. We have here anatomy practical. So for 3 hours on a Wednesday morning, we usually do 3 hours of anatomy in the labs. So with cadavers, with specimens, and it's themed around whatever we're studying that week. So for example, this one was looking at the thorax and the first of the cardiovascular system. If you follow it up, we have a half-hour break. Then we go into a lecture about confidentiality in professional practice. Another one about absorption, distribution, and elimination of drugs. And then we have our comm skills preparation called Exploring a Symptom. So that's when we're going through Socrates and how to interview a patient in preparation for our Thursday session. So if we go to Thursday, you can see here, Exploring a Symptom workshop. So from 11:30 to 2:30, so 3 hours there, where we go into a room, 6 students in one side of the room with the facilitator, and then on the other side of the room we have a simulated patient. And so what happens is one at a time we go through, so one-way mirror, and so we can look at the person and hear what they're saying, and then we give them feedback on how they interact with the patient. Each week is different and each theme is different. So for example, this week we're coming up on aged care, and we're going into actual retirement homes and aged care facilities, and we'll be interviewing the residents there. On Friday, another big day, so you can see here, we have respiratory physiology, clinical reasoning, we have chest pain. So clinical reasoning sessions are an opportunity for us to take what we know and actually think about, well, what would that actually look like as a doctor, as a practicing doctor. Ways of prevention, so that was a DHC, that was more on statistics and understanding epidemiology, so things like odds ratios, relative risk, all that sort of stats sort of stuff, so getting us ready for future study. We had a 3-hour PBL on that guy, Norman Cavendish, and that was a cardiovascular case, usually tied in. And then we had interprofessional learning. Now, interprofessional learning was a lecture on introducing us to different roles different healthcare workers provide in the hospitals, so pharmacists, allied health workers, nurses, even things like social workers, psychologists, and all that sort of thing, all getting us ready to be able to actually work efficiently as part of a healthcare team. The healthcare team too will come into much more clarity, I guess, in year 3 and 4 when we do what they call clients, which is they run a hospital within the School of Medicine. So for 2 weeks, people are on call coming into the hospital as if they're actually working there. That mixes not just med students, but also pharmacy students, dentistry students, paramedic students, nursing students, all the different types of students, and we actually run as if it was a real hospital. So that'll be awesome, and hopefully tell you more about it when it comes up in a couple of years' time. Ending the day with 4 to 5:30 D-Lab, so talking about consent and the incompetent adult. So we had 2 series of 2 lectures. One was with a competent and one non-incompetent adult. So that's a kind of standard week. Now, what does it look like in terms of study outside of that? Well, study outside of that for me is a bit different to study outside of that for obviously you or anyone else with a science background. I usually stay at uni probably all day on a Monday and Thursday. I spend time in the library, spend time in study groups then. I usually go home at around 5 or 6, get home by 6:37, depending if I'm taking the train or the car. And then at home I'll have dinner with the wife, watch a bit of TV, and then study until 10:30, and rinse and repeat really. On a Saturday I will go over what I've learned, write out some learning objectives for the next Tuesday, and similar on a Sunday, try and get some revision in. Generally doesn't happen because the learning objectives take a long time. So generally on the weekend I'm probably paying 6 to 8 hours a day on studying. It's a lot of time, it's very involved, but you know, at least on the bright side, I still like what I'm doing and I still like what I'm studying. It's really interesting. Some of these topics are really, really fascinating, and you wish you had more time to just stay on it and learn more about it. But unfortunately, that's not the nature of the beast. This week coming up here, in about 2 weeks' time, or a week and a half now, is our exam week. So we've actually got an anatomy summative exam and a DKHI formative exam. The real DKHI exam happens in June at the end of the semester. So couple of weeks more exams, and then 2 glorious weeks of holiday. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to sleep 7 or 8 hours a night. Right now I'm getting like 5 or 6, so not great. Anyway guys, I hope that was a good overview for you of what a med student's timetable actually looks like, and I hope that it helps in some way. If you've got any further questions or you want me to cover anything that you haven't seen before, please let me know. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a like for this video, and I'll see you next week on From Ed to Med.